Welcome to Aging in Place Strategies and Answers with Linda Prio. Will it be possible to remain in my home as I age? Do I feel safe in my home? How do I figure out how much support I will need when my health needs start to change? What if I decide to move into a community instead? Which community will meet my needs now and in the future? Who will play a role in helping me with decision making? Do you ask yourself these same questions? Aging in Place Strategies and Answers can help you gain practical knowledge that will help you create your own Aging in Place roadmap. If you are already a care partner, a power of attorney, or in crisis mode with your Aging in Place strategy, you will learn what you need to know that you don't know. For over 20 years, I have been marketing Aging in Place services to clients and educating families and healthcare professionals in how to put aging in place strategies into place. When you utilize aging in place, you are allowed to choose where you want to live and make those decisions so that you can retain your quality of life. Hello, listeners. Today's topic is not going to be something that you usually hear on a podcast, and that's because people don't like to talk about it. The topic is incontinence, and this topic is not something that you are likely going to be talking about with a friend. It is not something that pops up in normal conversation like my aching back or my sciatica or my plantar fasciitis or my arthritis, but it is still a condition. And because it is such a private issue and can affect our dignity and independence, we need to talk about it. So as I was preparing, I was thinking of Mrs. Doubtfire, and she says, "Don't be afraid. Help is on the way, dearie." Because I know that knowledge about any topic is going to be helpful, and especially knowledge about something that we're just hesitant to talk about because it is so private. In fact, I'm going to talk about it at least 3 times. This is my first introduction to the topic, so it's going to be more general. And then I'm going to have a podcast that is specifically for women and one that pertains to men. And then I'm going to introduce you to an amazing new product called Easy Pants. So I know I have your complete attention. So here we go. Let's get started talking about what incontinence is. Let's describe it. And then what are some of the symptoms of this condition? Now, urinary incontinence, UI, is the loss of bladder control, which can range from small leaks to sudden large accidents. The symptoms can include leaking urine when coughing, sneezing, laughing, or exercising. Another symptom might be a sudden, strong, and uncontrollable urge to urinate. It is also possible that some folks might have a symptom of frequent urination, multiple trips to the bathroom, whether it is during the day or whether it is at night. And in those that are experiencing maybe more of a chronic condition or a symptom, they could be accidentally wetting themselves or the bed. So there are different kinds of incontinence, And of course, you're welcome to do what I did, which is to go to Google and to find out what the different kinds of incontinence are. And I think this is very beneficial because, as you're going to hear in future podcasts, I always advocate that you let your medical professionals know what is going on. Because we don't talk about incontinence, because it's so private, and we think that there's something wrong with us, we don't understand that it's highly treatable. And the symptom management is available, as well as not always rushing to surgery to correct the problem. So I just want to give you that encouragement today. The different kinds of incontinence can include stress incontinence, which is the leakage of urine during activities that increase abdominal pressure, such as coughing, sneezing, laughing, or even lifting weights. And then there's urge incontinence, a sudden, intense urge to urinate followed by involuntary leakage. Leakage of urine can also be due to an full bladder. And this bladder you could be holding it too long and then running it for the bathroom, but it could also be a bladder that cannot empty properly. And that could be caused by a blockage or nerve damage. And that the blockage or the nerve damage could be caused by a host of conditions, which is why you really want to bring this up to your medical professional. And then there is functional incontinence, which is the leakage of urine due to physical or maybe even cognitive limitations that prevent the person from getting to the bathroom in time. So for those who have decreased mobility, decreased energy, stamina, but also those that are suffering from some sort of cognitive decline, we put this functional incontinence into that pocket of information. So there are also other types of incontinence. There is reflex incontinence, which is the involuntary leakage of urine triggered by a bladder spasm. And then there is the incontinence that happens at night, which we often see in young children, but can also exist with adults at night. Bowel incontinence is not something we're going to be talking about in this series. That is better dealt with by a gastroenterologist, but it is a form of incontinence, and again, highly treatable, and symptom management is available. But be aware that it may be that you do not just have one kind or one form of incontinence. It could be that you have stress and urge, or you might have stress plus an overactive bladder. Now, a word from our sponsor.
Are you looking for resources on senior living? Check out guideforseniorliving.com for our free online senior resource guide to find senior housing, care, and community connections. Start searching now at guide 4 seniorliving.com. That's guideforseniorliving.com to find the contact information for senior housing, care, and community connections.
Now let's return to the podcast. Listeners, here is the good news that I want to give you today. Urinary incontinence is not a normal part of aging. Urinary incontinence can be a part of an infection. It could be due to hormonal changes. It could be due to weakened pelvic floor muscles, nerve damage from certain cancers and treatments. It might also be due to an overactive bladder and some medications that you might be taking. So please, let's make a pact that we will not allow urinary incontinence to affect our social life, our relationships, our physical activity, or our quality of life. And here is another piece of good news. There are more and more products available that can help you be successful with incontinence, whether it is short-term or more of a long-term concern. When you go to the store, you're going to notice that there are daytime and nighttime absorbent pads. You will also see a variety of disposable or protective underwear that you can purchase, or if needed, there are bed and chair pads so that you can protect the bed and the chair from getting wet routinely. When you are experiencing a procedure at the hospital, you may have been exposed to catheterization, which is important during surgery and after surgery sometimes to help with recovery or to determine how much urine is actually being eliminated from the body. Usually those catheters are not left in, but it is possible to manage more ongoing and chronic incontinence that there is an indwelling catheter. But there are also external catheters. And if this is part of your lifestyle, just know that there are dignified ways that people manage this by changing the nighttime collection bag to a daytime leg bag. So I want to help you to see the bigger picture of incontinence, which I think is so important so that we all realize that we're not alone. Not alone in this. In fact, part of my research drove me to identify several organizations that are helping people with lifestyle changes and information, plus tips and tools to help with continence. But whatever your incontinence is due to, it's really important that you contemplate your fluid intake and what usually comprises the beverages that you drink during the day. Many of my senior clients don't really understand that drinking coffee or sodas all day could be a contributing cause. So limiting caffeine and carbonated drinks, sweetened drinks, plus alcohol could really help manage some of the incontinence that you might be experiencing. But the caution I want to put out there for you is that it is important to stay hydrated. Not drinking fluids so that you don't have an accident is not a good health practice. In fact, it is recommended that people have 6 to 8 glasses of fluid a day unless you are being limited by your physician. The result of drinking too little amount of the correct kinds of fluids concentrates the urine and then irritates the bladder by creating infections. So when we drink the wrong kinds of fluids or not enough, we can get into a host of problems. Just like holding urine for prolonged periods of time can have several negative effects on the body, such as urinary tract infections, kidney damage, kidney stones, weakened pelvic floor muscles, electrolyte imbalances such as sodium and potassium. So it is generally recommended to urinate at least 3 to 4 hours, every 3 to 4 hours to avoid these potential health risks. And also be aware that there is another form of incontinence that's called nocturia, and it is characterized by getting up 2 times or more during the night. And the same tips that we just discussed can really help you manage these symptoms. I know that this is a very short overview of a very large problem because many, many, many people suffer from incontinence, but hopefully I have captured your attention so that we can talk about this topic. And then I'm going to be giving you next steps so that you know how to manage and find workarounds and solutions if you are suffering from incontinence. My caregiver tip is this. Number one, it is just as important for the caregiver as well as the care receiver to stay fit and healthy, and that includes staying hydrated. Did you know that staying hydrated is essential for overall health? And water is the vital drink of choice because nearly every bodily function, including regulating body temperature, transporting nutrients, lubricating joints, and aiding digestion, depends on water. So staying properly hydrated not only helps your bodily functions, but it helps your brain to function as well. It keeps your skin healthy, it removes waste, and supports your physical and cognitive performance. Dehydration, on the other hand, can lead to fatigue, headaches, and impaired concentration. If you have found that you have been ill or you have been limiting your fluid intake, you might be at risk for being dehydrated. And as I have worked with senior populations for over 20 years, many seniors are hospitalized needlessly because they are simply dehydrated. But you can solve that problem by, number one, making a plan to stay hydrated and drinking the right beverages. The alcohols and the caffeines take water out of your system. They work as a diuretic. But if you need to boost your electrolytes, then choose a Pedialyte, which is recommended for children. It also works well for adults. You can utilize sports drinks. Just be aware that they have a lot of sugar in them. And if you need to manage that or are watching that, be aware of that. But there are many electrolyte-infused waters on the market that you can utilize. If you are suffering from decreased sodium and potassium, there are electrolyte-rich foods you can eat, such as bananas, avocados, and spinach. Plus, both sweet potatoes and regular potatoes are a good source of potassium. And then there is milk, yogurt, almonds, and beans. Friends, thanks for staying with me today and learning about incontinence. Remember, this is not age-related, but it could be symptom or medication or infection or treatment-related. And conferring with your medical professionals is what we're going to talk about next time. Thanks for listening. Thank you for joining me today. Please remember that this podcast is intended as education and not advice. Don't forget to share this podcast with family, friends, or colleagues who want to learn how to age in place, but also share this with those who find themselves in crisis mode. Please go to my website, seniorsupportstrategies.com for more information. When you subscribe to Aging in Place Strategies and Answers, you gain access to premium content and professional tips on creating your own Aging in Place roadmap. As always, I value the time you spend with me.